Aloha and shalom. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the activation portal. For those of you who are coming for the first time, welcome, welcome. We are now at the first quarter moon. So this week is all about the first quarter part of the cycle. And for those of you who are new to these activations, they don't necessarily have anything to do with the moon other than the fact that we use it as a measurement of time so that we can meet 4 times a month. It kind of keeps us on track, keeps us in order. Also, whatever we're seeing outside of ourselves is a reflection of what's happening inside. It's really one. So the shape of the moon is telling us something about what part of our own process we're currently experiencing. So first quarter activation, this is all about 1 week past the new moon. The new moon was a time for a new beginning. We're just 1 week into that. We've just stepped in. We're just starting to understand what this month is about. And of course, when we pull some cards, it will reflect to us a concise message about what exactly is going on this month for us all. And remember, this reading is collective, so it's about all of us. It's something that we are all experiencing. These energies are something we're all experiencing. However, we're all experiencing them in our own way. So the reading is both for the collective as well as the individual. Let me know where in the comments you're tuning in from. North Carolina, California, Arizona. Arizona here, Sedona in the house. And when I shuffle the cards, basically what I'm doing is activating the different parts of the mind because each card represents a different aspect of the mind, collective and individual. So we're just touching each one, waking each one up, saying hello, making sure that we are all here now, ready and present for the message that's about to come through. Michigan in the house, Maine in the house, we have UK in the house, we have Maryland in the house. And feel free to go ahead and share this video while we're live with your family, friends, maybe a favorite Facebook group that you have, or maybe somebody who really just needs an uplifting message right now. Wisconsin in the house. And if you'd like to wait for the recording afterward, you can share this video from here, or you may share it from YouTube or Instagram, Rebecca Magic, for those who are not on Facebook. The video does get loaded there shortly after our live activations. Arkansas in the house. Okay, shuffled and ready. And then we'll go ahead and shuffle the Hebrew deck. It looks like this. Remember, the letters are going to be flipped because we're on a camera. And they work the same way as the tarot. Each card represents a different archetypal concept, a different piece of wisdom, or a different angle of the mind. So we're just waking them up and saying hello. Alrighty. Beginning with the tarot. Yay, it's so good to see you guys popping in. Awesome. Yay. All right, so feel free to imagine yourself shrinking and jumping into the deck or teleporting here. Imagine you're here with me right now in this room. Or just remember to connect to the deck knowing that you are each one of these cards. You are each one of these archetypes. They are all within you. They're within each one of us. And we unite in these spaces, in these frequencies. Because they don't just exist within us, within humans. These are the building blocks of all of creation. So just really think of that. Think of everybody that's tuned in right now, live. And think of everybody who's going to watch this video, everybody who's going to hear this message, and really take it in. Just acknowledge that. And enhance the power of the message that hasn't even come through yet, simply by sending that energy into the future. Saying, I know that everybody who opens this message is really going to receive it, really going to take it into their heart. You can imagine a light coming into the heart of every being who opens this video, who hears this message. A light going into your own heart. And thank you in advance to the archetypes, faces of the one, which exist in each one, each and every one. Thank you for the message that's about to come through. Okay, friend. Okay. So the current focus, which is both the challenge and the gift, which as we ace this challenge, it becomes a bridge that we walk over to the future, that we walk across to the future. So what is that? What is the focus, the challenge, and the gift right now? Okay, I feel like that's the only one for the tarot today, so we'll just keep it simple there. And then with the Hebrew cards, as usual, we will pull an ally force. So this will be the force that holds our hand as we move through this specific focus and challenge. It'll be like the medicine, the remedy, the one message we want to focus on the most to make it through this current challenge with grace and ease and magic. All right. Starting with the challenge, which is also the gift. Woo! Again, we start with a major arcanum card. Does anyone know how many weeks in a row we've been going with this streak of beginning with a major arcanum card? Maybe this is the 3rd week in a row, 4th? Anyway, we be powerful, we be powerful. So this is the Hanged Man, aka the Martyr. As you can see, I wrote it in here. As many of you know, I alter my cards. Okay, it's number 12 in the major arcanum. And this card is all about sacrifice. And you always want to look to the cards before and after to get an idea of where we're at in the story right now. The card before says a little bit about where we came from. The card after kind of tells us where we're going so that we can keep the wheel turning. So you got to know the different parts of the story. It's not just about the one that's pulled. The card that's pulled is simply an access point into the rest of the ever-turning wheel, the rest of the story. Never-ending story. Okay, so this is 12. So the card right before is Strength, card 11. Yes, in modern tarot, it's not known as Strength. It's actually a manipulation. But in its proper ancient order, card number 11, which comes before this one, is Strength, aka the Enchantress. And that's all about learning about our magnetism, learning about our power. And when you learn about your power, you recognize that your true power comes from the one source of all creation. So in that part of the story, which is what we've been recently connecting with, which brought us to where we are now, we were really getting to know the essence of who we are, getting to know that strength. Now we're at the part of the story where we're recognizing what needs to be sacrificed to maintain that connection to that all-powerful source, as it exists both outside of us, all around us, but also within us. So now we're understanding, what do we need to sacrifice? Then after 12 comes 13, death, rebirth, transformation. The more we sacrifice, the more we can transform into a pure reflection, a pure image of who our authentic self truly is. Okay, so now you know a little bit about the sequence we're experiencing. I just want to say thank you guys so much for sending stars. I did comment about this in the last video. I don't receive anything from those stars. If you want to make a donation and give back for these videos, my link is on my wall here on Facebook. Or just reach out and ask me how you can do that. I so appreciate all of your efforts to give back and all of your support. Stars don't really do anything for me, unfortunately. But I love stars, so it's cool to see them popping up. So hey, thank you. Okay, so this is where we're at right now. It's the challenge and the gift. So let's start with the challenging end of the spectrum. We're all experiencing this energy, but some of us are experiencing it more on the challenging end and some of us more on the rewarding end. So if you're experiencing this in a more challenging way right now, it looks like I'm struggling to give up certain things. Maybe I'm not even aware of the things that need to be given up. I don't even know where to start. Okay, that's at the very end of of the spectrum. In the dark, feeling like I don't even know what to give up to be my truest self. I don't even know what needs to be given up. Start asking yourself, start with meditating and reflecting inwardly and asking yourself, what habits are bringing me temporary success or temporary pleasure. How can I fashion my thoughts, my words, and my actions to help guide me and the one, all of us, right, in a direction that is sustainably prosperous? How can I look at the way that I've been forming my thoughts, the way that I've been speaking my words, the ways that I've been performing my actions, and see that it's not the best I could be? It's not the best I can be. How can I refine? How can I redefine? Okay, so that's my advice for that really darkest end of the spectrum where you feel like you don't even know what needs to be given up. You don't even know how to take the first step. For those of you who feel that way, that is the guidance that I'm offering in this moment. And there's so much more to say about that, but we need to move through the whole spectrum. But I just feel like that's such an important part to share because it's coming through right now very strongly. If you feel like you don't even know where to begin, look at where you thought you've been happy lately and ask yourself, is this happiness really sustainable? How long-term is this? And from there, the advice is think of the next 7 generations. Because it's so beyond this lifetime. Oh gosh, this life is infinite. So we really need to break outside of this, time-space limitation and start thinking long-term. Think about the next generations. When you start directing your thoughts, your words, and your actions for the well-being of those future generations, you will start to feel amazing. You will start to feel fulfilled. You will start to feel like you're living with purpose. And that's where it just begins. That's where it all begins. Okay, so if you're on that really dark end of the spectrum, start making changes there. Ask, what can I do for the next 7 generations? Okay, and then moving now toward, moving in the opposite direction on the spectrum. Now maybe you're feeling challenged, but not quite that challenged. Maybe you know what you need to sacrifice, but it's still very difficult. It's still very difficult. The advice that comes in for those who feel they're in that place on that part of the spectrum is this. You must create a list of your whys, your inspiration, and lock it in. That's it. Make a list, even if it's just mentally, but it's recommended to write it down. Make a list of those things that you know in your heart of hearts need to be sacrificed. The habits, the hobbies, the words you've been speaking repeatedly, the thought programs that are not serving you or anyone else. Okay, what are your patterns in behavior, in thought, and speech? Write down those ones that you know are not the best. And then write down a reason why. And sit with that until you can accept it. And when the thoughts come in to justify the habit, understand that you need to separate that voice from your true voice. Accept your reasons for why those habits have to go, why those patterns need to be rewritten. And that's it. Accept it once and for all. Create the logical understanding and lock it in. Okay? You have to know why you're doing it. And then from there, on your list, you want to think about or write down what are better thoughts to have. Okay, so you start the list off with, I know in my heart that this is not a good thought to have, and I've been having this thought a lot lately. Okay, well, why is that a bad thought? That's part B. You write down why you know logically it's not a positive thought to have. And then you write down what a better thought would be for you to carry with you in your consciousness. Okay, so it's steps A, B, and C. You want to write down what you know is not serving you, the thoughts you've been having, the words you've been speaking, and be honest. Be honest with yourself. Write down why you're judging those things as needing to be sacrificed. And then write down what you can put in place instead. What can come of that sacrifice that will make life that much better. And not just for you, but again, for the next 7 generations. For all, for the one, for the collective. Okay, and then moving even further into the positive end of the spectrum here, you may be feeling like you know what sacrifices need to be made in thought, speech, and action, and you're beginning to take those steps. So we're all experiencing the same energy of sacrifice. It's that step that comes before transformation. But remember, some of us are more attached. Some of us are less attached. Some of us are not attached at all. So depending on where you're at will determine how you're experiencing this archetypal energy. But it's still the same energy for all of us. So if you're more attached, if you're holding on to the past, you're going to struggle. Resistance causes suffering. Attachment causes suffering. If you feel less attached, if you feel more full of faith, and you're embracing what's to come, you're ready for that change. What's more is you're conscious of what that change needs to be. Then you're going to be more open. It's going to be less painful. The sacrifices will be made more easily, more readily. What needs to be sacrificed will become clear to you, and you will have the strength of will to direct your energy in the direction it needs to go in to make that sacrifice. Okay, so we all have sacrifices to make right now. Where are you at? Are you holding on, or are you ready to let go? Are you afraid of transformation, or are you embracing it, knowing that it's the only constant is change? So if you come back to those fundamentals, those fundamental truths, the only constant is change. Our cells are constantly transforming. We must sacrifice. One tower falls so another tower can be built, etc., etc. When you come back to those simple truths, you meditate on those simple truths, and then you open up your eyes to your reality, and you come back to the space, you'll be able to breathe better. You'll be able to relax better. You'll trust more of what's happening within you and all around you in your reality. So it's always, always, always the answer is coming back to universal truth, fundamental truths, laws of energy. And the more you can accept those laws of the field through which we move, through which we live, you will be able to move through these experiences with greater ease, with grace, because there's understanding, because there's compassion. But you cannot be afraid of what's to come after sacrifice is transformation. How can you, with that awareness that change is the only constant, accept that a change is no doubt coming? It always is. And how can you look at the bigger picture of your life, rise above the material details of your reality, and say, what is the change that's coming for me? Because change is inevitable. So which change can I have the foresight to know is coming? And how can I prepare for that right now? What am I willing to sacrifice so that this change that is inevitable can happen in the most beautiful and graceful way? And the thing is, if you can take any small change that you know is coming and just focus on that one, you'll be okay. There are big and small changes always coming our way. Some that we know are coming, some that we're so aware of, and some that it's just like, it's like the tower card. It's just like, we don't expect it, right? But if you can at least look at the whole of your life and imagine one change that's going to come, how you respond to that one change is how your cells and your mind and your entire being are going to respond to every change that's coming. So the suggestion that's coming in is to identify one change that's inevitable in your life, and commit to opening up completely to that change, to supporting that inevitable shift, opening to it, surrendering to it, trusting it, envisioning the best possible outcome for the future. And again, if you just pick one change, your mind subconsciously says, oh, okay, so this is how I should respond to change. Because the way we do one thing is the way we do everything. So pick one thing. And also what you can do is just meditate on change itself. Work on redefining what change means to you. What is change even? How can you deepen your understanding and your compassion for change in general, as a concept in life, something that we're always experiencing? And when you can embrace it at that deepest fundamental level within your consciousness, that change is the only constant, that change is this greatest part of life. It is life. Life is change, change is life. Cycles, seasons, nature. And when you can embrace it at that fundamental level, then you will subconsciously begin to embrace it on all levels. And it will no doubt make your experience of change on all levels more graceful and easier to accept. Woo! Okay, let's move on to the final card, the Ally. Okie doke. We have the Het. Het is the 8th letter of the Aleph Bet. And remember, it's flipped, okay? Because we're on a camera, so you might want to look it up. You can look it up on Google, C-H-E-T. Hebrew letter Het, C-H-E-T. Okay, and it's the 8th letter of the Aleph Bet. And it's the letter representing the 8th arcanum in the tarot, balance. And speaking of, my chair is tilting. Oh my God. Okay, we're secured. Okay, so 8 is all about infinity, balance, justice. It's about the eternal laws of the universe and of nature. Okay. So just tying this one into this one, this being the ally of the week, it's really just further reflecting what we were just talking about. If you understand those fundamental laws of nature, if you understand the balance back of all things, then you will embrace all cycles and seasons as they occur within your own being and all around you. If you understand that balance to life, then you will embrace sacrifice. You will embrace the change that is to come. You will do whatever you need to do to support that change, that rebirth on its way. Okay. So it's really as simple as that. I think we said it all before we even pulled it, which usually happens. And so also, Het is very much like, it's like a gate. It's like a gate. And so it's, when you walk through that gate, it's like you're walking through the gates of heaven, right? Like you're walking into the beyond, into the infinite, eternity. And all that's there is light. It's like, looks like a little door, like you're walking through, right? Like a gate. Almost looks like Stonehenge. There are lots of things you can scry when you look at really any Hebrew letter. But really, the idea is that when you understand, when you go through that door of understanding, go through that gate of understanding, and you know the laws of the universe, which are reflected in the laws of nature, you accept the cycles and seasons that are a result of that law, those laws. And you accept that you are a part of those cycles and seasons of nature. Do you see the illumination around his head? Saying, when we, from a different angle, when we make a sacrifice, we give up a certain way of thinking, for example, we can see from a new perspective. When you make a sacrifice, you're lighter. Give something up, create space for the new. Okay? So it's all about seeing things from another perspective. Awesome. We just had a little service issue there. But we're just about to finish up. So remember, you guys, when you have that understanding of those laws of nature and the universe, and you understand then that you're a part of them, you don't resist the part of the process that you're in. You open up, you let it go, you're ready for the transformation. So you know what that thing is that you need to sacrifice. A way of thinking, words you've been speaking, actions you've been taking. Maybe it's a combination of those things. Most likely it is. But how can you support yourself in that process? How can you understand what change is going to come of those sacrifices? How can you begin to see that right now? You can say, oh God, I recognize these. Okay, there we are again. So you can say, I recognize these bad habits and I am looking into the future, meditating on this and seeing that if I give these things up, oh, well then I'm going to become this. Okay, so you can either start with understanding I'm making these sacrifices, then naturally this is what I'm going to be. And when you find that image of what you're going to become upon meditating on, these sacrifices you're making, hold on to that vision. Or you can do vice versa. You can say, okay, well, this is what I really want to become. This is the shift that's on its way. So what sacrifices do I need to make to get to that? But understand that the sacrifices and the rebirth, the sacrifices and the new beginning are one. That's the main key. Okay, so let us know in the comments or let us know in our private group, the Archetypal Alliance, what sacrifices you're making right now. Share with us, share so that we can reflect, so that we can have a bigger picture perspective, because we're in this together. And you got this, we got this. Please share with us if you feel called in the private group. What sacrifices are you making? We also have another private group, Shabbat Crew, where we post in there about the current Torah story and how to access the magic of the Torah, whoever you are, wherever you are in the world, wherever you are in time and space. So Shabbat Crew or the Archetypal Alliance are the two private groups. Find me on Instagram and YouTube, Rebecca Magic, if you want to share this video with someone who's not on Facebook. And thank you. I see some of you in here have requested my books. They're on their way to you right now in the mail. They look like this, you guys. There's the Royal Path 1 and 2. If you want to learn more about the archetypes from a non-manipulated, ancient perspective, from someone who grew up Jewish on both sides of my family, please reach out. I'll ship you my book. The first one is on the major arcanum and the Hebrew alphabet. And the second book is on the minor arcanum and the elemental suits. Again, beyond manipulation. I also have a video course online. All I need is your email for it. So reach out to me if you have any questions about that or if you want to purchase the course. There's an hour to an hour and a half long video for each of the cards 0 through 22, actually, mystery card 22, as well as some bonus classes. So please reach out to me if you're interested in the course or my books or a one-on-one live video reading wherever you are in the world. Or of course, if you find yourself in Sedona, be happy to meet you. All right, you guys, shalom and thank you so much. I'll see you next week for the full moon activation.